A microphone has to do a couple of things for me in order to consider even purchasing the microphone. Okay, so number one, it's got to sound good. Like, first and foremost, my voice, I have to feel and hear that my voice sounds great using any microphone out there. And number two, the price has to be right. And we're going to lean into the price today when we talk about the Fifine Amplitank Tank 3. Fifine was kind enough to send me this microphone for free for their purposes of this review. They have not told me what to say. They have not told me how to do this review, how to approach it or anything like that. They just said, here's the mic, you do your thing. And that's exactly what we're going to do, but we're going to do it a little different. I'm going to keep it super simple. This microphone right now, you can possibly find it for as little as $89.99. I believe that is the normal price of the microphone, MSRP, okay? That's great. If you think about the microphone as the only dynamic XLR microphone out there, XLR and USB mic, okay, very unique characteristic about it, then $89.99 doesn't sound too bad. But there is a problem with this microphone costing $89.99. We'll get to that as we build into that, okay? As far as sound's concerned, what you're listening to right now is the Fifine Amplitank 3 running through my Rodecaster Duo, which is a $500 audio mixer slash interface slash podcasting processing station. All right, you know it. The Rodecaster Duo, okay? I do have a whole lot of effects running on. I have a preset that I made for my RE20 back when I had an Electro Voice RE20, and that's the preset I usually stick with when I try out some new dynamic mics. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna press a couple of buttons and I'm gonna go ahead and turn all of that off, and you're about to hear what this microphone sounds like on its own, plug and play, which is what you're listening to right now. For $89.99, would you pay that much money to get sound like this? Let me know in the comments below. And I'm going to have a couple more of those kinds of questions for you. So please feel free to answer them all in separate comments or one big comment to answer them all. You choose. But again, sound is very important. No doubt about it. You're buying a microphone to sound good, not because it looks good. And I'll tell you, as far as looks are concerned, I think this is a good looking microphone. It's not the worst, it's not the best, but it definitely doesn't look bad on frame. I wouldn't sit here in the middle of a stream or a YouTube video and be concerned about what people will think as far as how this microphone looks in comparison to maybe the aesthetic or the vibes that I'm going for. Okay, keep in mind, by the way, that we still have processing turned off, okay? So this is what the mic sounds again, on its own, organically, right out of the box, plugged into an audio interface. Now let's talk about the build. Build quality. We got full metal body, full metal mesh grill. We have a single arm yoke stand. We have an XLR input, a USB input, and a 3.5 millimeter jack on the back of this microphone, okay? This microphone does function as a USB and XLR dynamic microphone. You cannot use them both simultaneously. You have to pick one or the other. This is a fantastic thing because if you're an up-and-coming content creator or streamer, you're just getting started, you may not necessarily have the money to invest into an XLR setup. You can buy this mic and use it as a USB microphone. Or on the flip side, if you have an audio interface and you have an XLR setup, but you're going to travel, you're going to go to your friend's house, you're going to do something away from your primary setup, you can simply take a USB cable and you can use your microphone at the other setup and somewhere else away from yours. All right, you get the point. As far as build's concerned, I think for $89.99, this is an exceptionally well-built microphone, except for one thing. So the issue I have with the build for this microphone has nothing to do with the durability and everything to do with functionality. You see this little knob right here? You have to tighten or loosen this thing up to basically tighten up its grip on the microphone to prevent it from swiveling up and down, back and forth. The problem here is that this guy doesn't have a maximum setting. It gets to a point, to a maximum, but yet you can kind of still turn the knob and it doesn't get any tighter. And that becomes a problem when I use this microphone on something like my Elgato low profile boom arm that has my beautiful Earthworks Ethos microphone connected to it right now. Anyways, when I have the Amplitank Tank 3 on here, when I've had it, I've got the XLR cable running out through the channel, and the tension of the XLR cable pulling on the microphone causes this mic to basically move up like that just a little bit. And if I try to adjust it back down so that it's at a level that I want it to be, it will move it back up again. All because that stupid little knob right there will not tighten up all the way. Is it a deal breaker? Absolutely not. It is not a deal breaker. You're still going to be able to finagle the arm and the microphone to get it set up the way you need it to be set up. But for almost $100, that shouldn't be an issue, like at all. Back to sound. So I think with processing, this microphone can sound pretty darn good. It sounds way better than its price for sure. Like if I heard this mic on its own with no video, no idea what this microphone looked like, and definitely no idea how much this microphone cost, I would think that this would be somewhere in the lower mid-range, mid-tier microphones as far as sound is concerned, but that's also based off of my own personal preference. So please take that with a grain of salt. However, there are some things that this microphone suffers with or struggles with that honestly makes sense given its price point, but still also kind of unfortunate. Plosives, right? So Peter Piper packed a pick of pickled peppers. I mess that one up every single time I'm live, but you get the point. I think this thing is very susceptible to plosives. All right. And most microphones are. And that's why you kind of got to angle the microphone to your corner, to the corner of your mouth, and not speak directly into the capsule of the microphone so that you can avoid some of those plosives. And this will also help you with sibilance. All right. Now, as far as sibilance is concerned, I think I have the de-esser turned on. So let me go ahead and turn that off right now. And now our de-esser is off. So simple, surely, tragic, Cecil, susceptible, like things that have the words that have these very harsh S's and T's and V's and C's are gonna bleed through, and it's gonna hurt. Like not literally, but it's just gonna sound terrible. And I think this microphone is susceptible to that as well. And thankfully, there's software, there's plugins that you can use to help mitigate some of that stuff. But some of the best things you're gonna do, again, it's just mic positioning. Like, don't speak directly into the capsule of the mic. Speak off into the corner. Aim it at a corner. Maybe you don't need to start eating your microphone and talk into it. Maybe you put a little bit of distance in between your lips and the mic, and that's going to help some of it too. I don't know if this is something I personally want to hold this mic accountable for, because it's a problem that almost any microphone out there can and will have until you start spending a couple $100 on mics. So I just figured this might be something that you might want to be aware of. Now, before I show you what this microphone sounds like when it's being connected to your computer via the provided USB-C cable, I wanted you to get another idea what this microphone sounds like using an XLR connection. Again, I've got all my processing turned on, everything up and running through the Rodecaster Duo using an XLR cable. And now you're listening to the Amplitank Tank 3 with no processing turned on, connected to my Rodecaster Duo using an XLR cable. Let's switch over now to USB. So now this is the Amplitank Tank 3 running via USB into my computer. I'm using the Elgato Wavelength software to go ahead and manage the microphone audio, if you will. And I do have VST plugins activated. I've got the Elgato Noise Removal and Elgato EQ. Now the equalizing that I was able to accomplish in this plugin, slightly different from the equalizing that I was able to accomplish and the processing I was able to accomplish via the Rodecaster Duo. The Rodecaster Duo and Rhodes processing overall absolutely destroys Elgato. Elgato, however, don't count them out just yet. They have good plugins. You can get other plugins that work with it as well, and they do a great job. But when you look at them side by side and you listen to them side by side, Rode is just really good at this, right? And Elgato's good too, but not as good as Rode, in my opinion. Just my opinion, okay? Anyway, so this is the mic via USB. This is what it sounds like with processing turned on. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and open up Wavelength. For the love of God, hopefully it works. This last update that they had just absolutely like destroyed like this whole program. It just, I lost all my settings. I had to redo everything and reinstall it 1,000 times, but that I digress. We're going to go ahead and turn off everything right now. So now what you're listening to, if this is correct, is the Amplitank Tank 3 running through Elgato Wavelength, USB to my computer, no plugins, no processing. This is what the microphone sounds like right out of the box. Plug and play. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, in the comments below, let me know. How does it sound? Did you like it better via USB with processing on? Do you like it better via USB with processing turned off? And as a bonus question, let me know. Do you like it now more via USB compared to XLR, considering both with and without processing? Once upon a time in a galaxy far, far away, I would have taken some time to do an off-axis rejection test, a noise rejection test, an impact test. I'm not going to do that anymore because the thing is, there's like 1 trillion other creators that do the same exact test. Some of them do it better than I do, so I'm not going to waste your time. Here's the thing. If you're having problems with your microphones picking up noise in your recording or streaming environment, good news. You can literally download A VST plugin, especially for using Wavelink, for example, you can literally download Elgato noise removal and your problems are solved. Like, that's it. So if you're having that problem, download that plugin, run it, install it, add it to the chain. One and done, it's taken care of. Let's move on to something more important. If you decide to use the Amplitank Tank 3 as a USB dynamic microphone, you're going to have access to these, let me find them, these two knobs right over here, okay? The top knob controls your microphone's gain, which is basically your mic's volume, okay? And the bottom knob controls your headphone's output volume using the 3.5 millimeter jack port right here at the back of the mic. I don't really know what else to tell you about that. If you're curious as to how this thing performs with headphones, it's fine. It does a good job. Like, you can play video games off of it. You're going to get decent sound stage. You're going to be able to hear footsteps where they're coming from. That has a lot to do also with the kind of headphones or headsets that you're using. I'm not going to dive into that. There's absolutely no need. There's way more important things to talk about, like the price, which is what we're about to get into right now. And we're back with XLR. I love XLR. I think XLR is way better than USB, and that's usually a universal fact, except for the fact that nowadays in 2024, USB microphones are pretty darn good. All right. And I think that the Fifine Amplitank Tank 3 in USB sounds solid enough. And the good news, once again, is that if you don't like how it sounds either in USB or in XLR, you can add in some processing into the chain, or you can do it in post, and you can definitely fine tune the sound within reason. And what I mean within reason is that there's only so much you're going to be able to do with any microphone out there. You can't make an Amplitank Tank 3 sound like an SM7B. You can't do that. You can get close, but you're ultimately never, ever going to be able to do that. So instead of trying to sound like a microphone that's out there that you don't own, instead try to get the best out of the microphone that you currently do have. And you're able to do that by investing a little bit of time and experimenting, and it's going to take some time. But once you get the hang of it, I promise, te lo prometo, te lo juro, it's super, super easy. I mean that. It's very easy. Now, price. This microphone right here, the Amplitank Tank 3, is $89.99 MSRP. I think you can find it sometimes on sale for as little as $60, maybe sometimes $70. And that is where the real problems begin with this microphone. You see, here's the thing. A lot of times people think that you have to spend a shit ton of money to get excellent quality out of your microphone. What you're listening to right now, by the way, is the Earthworks Ethos. This is a condenser broadcast XLR microphone. Literally, like the best microphone I have ever used. This thing is exactly the same price as a Shure SM7B. And if I had known about this microphone before I bought an SM7B, I would have bought this microphone over the SM7B because I think this microphone sounds better than the SM7B. But there's one really critically important thing about this microphone. It is the exact same price as a legendary iconic microphone, and at bare minimum, it performs as well, as good as that legendary iconic microphone. As far as this microphone is concerned, being $89.99, did I just say that, Burring? Being $89.99 in price, that's where the problem comes into play, ladies and gentlemen, because here's the thing. For $10 more, for $99.99, if you want to go down the XLR path, you can literally buy yourself one of the most iconic microphones that has ever existed. Ironically, another Shure microphone, a little microphone by the name of the Shure SM58. You can go out there and buy yourself a Shure SM58 for $10 more and get exponentially better sound. For $10 more, if you're already committing yourself to an XLR setup, you can get yourself an SM58 and sound exponentially better. When you look at this microphone being $89.99, you think to yourself, oh my God, this is a very good price. I get XLR, USB, I can route audio through the microphone. It's a dynamic microphone. It's going to handle room noise a hell of a lot better than a condenser microphone does. This is such a great buy. If that's where your train of thought is going, that for $89.99, this is a really good value microphone, then you're not wrong. You really aren't, because when you look at the microphone by itself, you get XLR connectivity and USB connectivity. You can use this microphone without having to invest the cost of going down the XLR path while still retaining the ability to upgrade into the XLR path. But the biggest issue comes into play is the fact that for $90, if you spend $10 more plus the cost of an XLR audio interface, which can be relatively cheap these days, you're going to literally be able to buy an iconic, legendary microphone that sounds exponentially better than this does. If this microphone was priced at around the $60, the $70 range, this microphone would be absolutely hands down an incredible, incredible value. But the fact of the matter is that you're only going to pay that price if you find it on sale for that price. Because again, if you buy it at its normal price, you're spending $90. You're spending $90 for a microphone that the knob here doesn't tighten up all the way, that the mute button here, when you press it, you're going to probably hear right now as I'm pressing it, you're going to hear the tactile action of pressing this mute button at the very top, right? You're going to buy a $90 microphone that, for all intents and purposes, for full transparency's sake, sounds okay out of the box. It's okay. It's not the best at all, like at all. It's not terrible. I think this is a great microphone for somebody who wants to get started, but in order to get the most out of it, you're going to have to do some work. And guess what? Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Having to put in work to get the most out of anything is the absolute last thing somebody brand new into this content creation world wants to do. They want to grab something, plug it into their computer, and have it yield the maximum results that it possibly can with minimal work and effort. And for $10 more, you can get a legendary microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Francisco. Thank you for watching the channel. Thank you for watching the video. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think? Have you used this microphone? Do you like this microphone? Have you watched other reviewers? What do you think about this? What I have to say versus what they have to say about it. Until next time, be good to yourselves, be good to one another. Peace out.